think I'm live. Okay. Hi, I'm Judy Veers, and I wanted to talk to you about buckets, dippers, and lids. So I could read the whole book, but I'm going to jump to page 30 in it and read, "Think of your bucket as being filled with precious jewels. Do you want others to steal your treasures? No way. Your happiness is just as valuable and you must protect it. After all, your bucket holds your good thoughts and feelings and you need to keep them." I love this page. And the next page is, "That's why your bucket needs a lid." So the book goes into people dipping into your self-esteem and your self-worth by bullying or saying mean things or hurting you verbally, physically, in different ways. And it goes into lids of having that ability to not take it personally and realize only, in the book it has only people with empty buckets try to dip into other people's buckets. And it doesn't fill either bucket. What they don't talk about is that some buckets have holes in them, which is not fun because you have to repair the holes so that you're not leaking all your happiness and your good thoughts and feelings. So that's kind of what therapy's for. It's for trying to help people feel good about themselves, help protect them from the negative influences in the world, how to help keep them with a lid, resilient, so that when people do bully them or they have a bad experience with somebody, they realize that it has nothing to do with them as a person, but has more to do with that other person with an empty bucket. So filling that hole, sometimes people have holes. So there's people that, as a kid, you're trying to make this person happy that's in your life. And you can do everything, and they're never happy. Because the story goes into, like, you can make your parents happy by filling their buckets, but some people, you can't because they have a hole. So there's no reflection on you. And then when you have a hole, it's kind of, where does that hole come from and how are we going to fix it? And that's kind of the idea of therapy. So those are my 2 cents as a therapist. So I get to see clients, but then if I go online, maybe something I read or say can help somebody. You can't see the whole world as your client, but if you go online, you kind of can reach a broader audience. So maybe I will read buckets, dippers, and lids. Is anybody watching? Not yet. This is the first time I've gone live as a therapist working with kids. I do a lot of adult things and use sarcasm sometimes, but for kids, it also does say not just for kids. So if you're an adult and you don't know how to have healthy boundaries, maybe this is a good introduction book. And she also writes another one that goes more into details that I feel like is almost more middle school or older. So if I lost you on jumping to page 30, let's begin. Buckets, dippers, and lids. Do you know that everyone in the whole world has an invisible bucket, an invisible dipper, and an invisible lid? Oh, this is by Carol McCloud. Buckets, Dippers, and Lids, illustrated by Glenn Zimmer. It's true. Everyone, whatever your age, wherever you live, whatever you look like on the outside, you have an invisible bucket, dipper, and lid. So if you see through here, that's kind of like, they have a good array of different people, different ages and ethnicities. But yes, that's kind of what ties the community together, is that knowing how buckets, dippers, and lids work will help you learn 3 secrets to your happiness. Buckets. Your bucket belongs to only you. It's been with you since the day you were born. Your bucket is not an ordinary bucket that holds water or sand. It's where you hold all your happiness. When you were little, you depended on other people to fill your bucket. They filled your bucket when they held you, played with you, and took good care of you. They also filled your bucket when they changed your stinky diapers. P.O. As you grew, you started to fill your own bucket. You were so happy and proud when you learned to do things on your own, like ride a bicycle, read a book, or catch a ball. You were filling your own bucket. filling your own bucket is a big part of your happiness. And this, I think, is huge, is learning how to fill your own bucket. I think the future book I may read next week or eventually goes more into how to do that. And then also for those parents that are watching, some buckets are empty for a while, so you have to realize, early childhood things do matter. You fill at least 2 buckets whenever you are kind to others. First, you fill their bucket by being thoughtful towards them. Then you fill your bucket because you feel happy when you help others feel happy. Again, this could be a negative thing if you're trying to make somebody who has a hole in their bucket feel happy, because you can send all these positive vibes and help around the house or help wherever that person lives, whoever that person is in your life. You can be trying to do all these great things, and they're always like, oh, really? This artwork? You could do better. Or this grade that you worked so hard on and got a C, but we knew it was like the challenging and you're just so glad you passed. You should have gotten an A. Things like that, where maybe you try really hard and you think it's a positive and you just get this negative. So you should learn how to fill your own bucket and not be dependent on reactions. It's still good to fill people's buckets and say positive things. We don't want any bullies, which are bucket dippers. But you shouldn't be dependent on positive feedback for your happiness, because let's face it, only like full buckets can give positive feedback. And I think you women all know what I mean. Isn't it great to know that when you fill someone else's bucket, you fill your bucket too? The good feelings you give to others come back to you. Again, if that person has an empty bucket or a hole, don't be upset if your positive things don't make that person happy. You can only make yourself happy. Still good to try to do, but filling a bucket is simple. First, you think of someone whose bucket you could fill, then think of what you could do to fill it. Could you invite a friend to join you for lunch? Can you thank your mom or dad for a delicious dinner? Could you take time to play with your pet? Even our pets have buckets. Could you help around the house? Bucket filling is a terrific habit because everyone is happier. Learning to fill buckets is the first secret to your happiness. Dippers. Dippers are what dip into buckets and remove some happiness. Bucket dipping is the opposite of bucket filling. Instead of adding some good thoughts and feelings, bucket dipping takes some away. Bucket dipping is a terrible habit because no one is happier, and that's the truth. There are many ways to dip into buckets. Calling people names, bullying them, or pointing and laughing at them are just a few. This is a huge mystery. Why does everyone, including you, have an invisible dipper? And why would anyone have or use something that takes happiness away? No one knows for sure. On this page, it's like, why does child abuse happen? We don't know. It's a mystery. I think there's holes in some buckets. But bucket dipping could be a bad habit that you learn from others. And you can see generational things that you need to learn how to fix buckets, your own bucket. But you may think it's okay to dip in buckets if others do it, but bucket dipping is not okay. It is possible you don't even know that you're bucket dipping. After all, buckets and dippers are invisible. You can't see the actual dipping, but when your bucket is dipped, you will feel it. Your dipper can have a mind of its own. Unless you resist, it will jump into bucket dipping action before you know it, especially if someone dips into your bucket first. For example, what if your brother takes a break, something special that belongs to you? Quick as a blink, without thinking about it, your dipper starts moving, and then watch out, you dip right back. You might say things like, get lost, or even, I hate you. You don't mean those things, but when you let angry feelings become hurtful words, your dipper takes a giant dip out of someone's bucket. And what happens when you dip into buckets? You don't fill your bucket, you empty it more. You're not proud of yourself. You're less proud. Your dipper can't take someone else's happiness and put it into your bucket. Bucket dipping hurts everyone. I was so sad when I heard that all schools don't read this book. I'm like, what? This is great. Many people who dip into buckets will say the first thing that comes to mind. They haven't learned how to resist their urge to dip. Everyone must learn not to dip because everyone has a dipper. To keep everyone's bucket full, here are 2 good rules to follow. 1, stop and think before you say anything. 2, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. You'd be surprised by how much practice you need. Learning to resist the urge to dip is the second secret to your happiness. Lids. You might be wondering, what's a lid? Good question. Even many grown-ups don't know they have a lid. And if you don't know you have a lid, how will you keep your bucket from being dipped and emptied? It will certainly get dipped at some time, someday, somewhere, by someone. I'm going to share my first real big dip was at age 30. And wow, I was not prepared. So having a lid is a big deal. Your lid helps protect the happiness in your bucket. Do you know that you could be a super great bucket filler who almost never dips and your bucket could be empty? How could that be? It's because you don't know don't know about your lid and how to use it. Think of your bucket as being filled with precious jewels. Do you want others to steal your treasures? No way. Your happiness is just as valuable and you must protect it. After all, your bucket holds your good thoughts and feelings and you need to keep them. That's why your bucket needs a lid. Here is how your lid works. When someone says or does something that dips into your bucket, you feel it. Instantly, you're not happy as you were a minute ago. You might feel sad, angry, hurt, scared, or embarrassed. You might even feel it in your body. You could feel yourself getting hot, or your tummy's tighten, or your head hurt, or like something in your tummy. Like any ouch feeling is an important sign warning you to use your lid. Let's imagine someone rudely says to you, "Where did you get that jacket? Ouch!" That ouch feeling is a sign your bucket is getting dipped. It's time to use your lid. Your lid says stop. So stop. Take a deep breath and think. Stop, take a deep breath, observe, plan, proceed. Some people say stop, take a deep breath, think, observe, options, consider the options. So practice the plan, proceed, don't dip back. So basically stop and think about it. Don't dip back. Remember, this is your bucket and you want it to stay full. Your lid gives you time to stop and think. It keeps you from losing more happiness while you try to understand, why is someone dipping? Why is someone doing this? Why would they say that? Is this a bad habit they learned? Are they showing off? In a hurry? Is their bucket a little low? You can be sure that if someone says or does something to hurt you, it is not about you. It's about them and their bucket that is not full. However, if you don't know the problem is their less than full bucket, and you dip back or remain hurt or angry, how will your bucket stay full? Talk to people who know about bucket filling, and I'm sure they'll agree. Therapists should really understand this concept. And if they don't, and you give them the book, can always, there is another time when you may need your lid. Do you know you can dip into your own bucket and take away your own happiness by what you tell yourself? Yes, you can. One way to do this is comparing yourself to others. For example, what if you're upset or jealous because your new baby brother or sister is getting more attention than you? Use your lid to stop, think, and try to understand that people shine at different times and in different ways. Remind yourself that every person is valuable and every person is a star, including you. Your time to shine will come even if it doesn't feel like it right now. And I think this has to do a lot with friends and work environment and everything. We should be happy when people are succeeding, and if we're not, we should be wondering what's going on with ourselves, because we should be happy for others. And you know that people who love you and you love the most can dip into your bucket. and you can dip into theirs. Bucket dipping happens in all families. No one is perfect. Your lid helps you to understand, forgive, and protect the good thoughts and feelings in your bucket. But you don't keep your lid on your bucket all the time. If you do, how can people fill it? You only need your lid when someone is dipping. Most people, including parents, teachers, and friends, are awesome bucket fillers. But again, some are not awesome bucket fillers in those categories. And most of the time, they help to make your life terrific. But again, not all the time. Sometimes your lid is healthy boundaries. And if someone is ever dipping into your bucket, it's best to tell a different adult, or an adult that's trustworthy. Here's one more good thing to know. Your lid can help others, and their lid can help you. You do this when you stand up for one another. However, if no one is around and your bucket is getting dipped, you need to use your lid to protect your own bucket or get help from others. Learning to use your lid is the third secret to happiness. Now you know about invisible buckets, dippers, and lids, and how they work. First, everyone has a bucket and you can fill it with happiness. And when you fill others, you fill your own bucket too. Do your best every day to be kind and treat everyone in the same wonderful way that you would like to be treated. Second, everyone has a dipper that can take happiness away. You know that bucket dipping hurts everyone. Do your best to resist the urge to dip. And if you slip and dip, be sure to admit your mistake and say you're sorry. Third, everyone has a lid, and lids protect happiness. When someone is dipping, do your best to imagine their less than full bucket. Maybe then you can understand and forgive them. But if you need help, always go to another bucket filler. Learning anything new includes these secrets to your happiness requires practice. Learning anything new, including these secrets to your happiness, requires practice. It can be difficult and you will make mistakes. Mistakes are a big part of learning, so don't give up. You can do it, and it's worth the time and effort. With practice, you will get better, you will be happier, and you will help others be happier too. Now it's up to you. Bucket Fillers Pledge. All around the world, thousands of people of all ages have taken the Bucket Fillers Pledge. We encourage you to make the same promise. I promise to be my best every day, to be a bucket filler, not to dip, and to use my lid for myself and others at home, at school, and everywhere I go. So this is a great book, and it's teaches resiliency, tons of great things. It's a good discussion guide, and there are more books to come. So if you like this, hit a like button. I have a lot of different ideas, so I'm going to go with which ones get the best feedback. Thanks, enjoy, and have a great day.